I am Andy Beltz from Mankato, Minnesota, a New Ulm native, born and raised over there. Came over to Mankato in 2011 to go to school for business management, where I started going to school at SEC. I was going there for about a year and a half when I got a job working for a local tire shop down there. Ended up jumping into the scene there, and we ended up buying the business in 2012. My father and I, we went on a co-ownership called Miller Motors. The business has been around since 1927, and that's kind of where my roots began and how I became into Mankato scene. I am Beltz, Beltz. You can find me at Beltz Bears anywhere. First thing I'd start with is I got BDE. After that, well, then I'd like to welcome them. I'd like to find out what they're about. I'm a very people-oriented person, so I like to understand my surroundings and everybody that's around me and in my circle. So I like to get to know somebody before they need to know too much about me. A lot of people seem to know. Right off the bat, a lot of people seem to know that I make music. I've been in the music scene in Mankato for 10 plus years. So at this point in most relationships, it's pretty well known. But it's not something that I like to start off with, as most people don't. Musicians are a lot of times very humble people. But you work in a conversation, you find similar interests to different things. And that's part of like the different businesses that I, run and I'm a part of. It just builds that relationship through and through. Well, the natural assumption is I'm either, cause most of the time that those conversations are being had at my shop. So it's what kind of music? And I'm talking old clientele, 1927. I still got them people that come in, I've been coming here since I was a little whippersnapper. So we start off with, it's kind of bluesy pop. I don't go into hip hop because I don't like to make them so they're like, I'm not coming back to that tire shop. But no, I like to just kind of ease into it. Now from time to time, I catch a lot of my customers actually playing my music out in the waiting room. It's kind of funny. It's just it's an interesting dynamic throughout. Because I always have posters up for any upcoming shows and things that I got going on. So when they see it in the shop, they're like, "Oh, what's this?" And I explain to them, and that's a lot of times the actual opening thing of where my music comes into things. And so then, of course, they want to know what we do and how it is. So my go-to is always I play them Lemonade. It's a song that's been out for quite some time. It's a very sweet, subtle song. And it's something that a lot of people can resonate with without being like, oh, this is too much hip-hop or too much this and that. It's a good balance for a starting conversation with it. So like when we're bringing that energy and showing the different people, depends on what them circumstances are. So, if we're at a show, we get a lot of notice. I'm not a small guy per se, I tend to stick out a little bit, the fit says a little bit. But it's a fun way of putting myself out there into the music. I think we started talking, 507cc and I started talking back in, I want to say like 2016, 17, somewhere like that. And we've been in a connection for quite some time. This interview is so long overdue, I tell you that. And we've just stayed tapped in. We see each other doing things, we share each other's things. And that's one of my favorite things about the music network is when you tap into somebody, you can utilize resources and grow within anybody, any which way. We got each other on Snapchat, we stay connected there. Instagram, Facebook. I know when we were doing Moonfest stuff and Modest Music stuff back in the day, we were chatting back and forth quite a bit back then. So it's been a long connection going forward. Now, I work a lot with Mock Productions. That includes the Forever Free. That is a whole little collective of artists that have come out of there. It's been one of the most amazing, steadfast years of growing forward. In just a year's time, like we have put so much on the map and slated so much. The community is just growing and growing and growing. And I see all these artists that are coming up. And that's one of the cool parts about being tapped in with the studio is you see these artists on the rise and like we're able to give them that platform and put them on. And it's just a brilliant thing that like that's why we do music is for everybody else. It has nothing to do with personal issues like or personal, trying to go forward. It's how can we make this as a whole and do it for everybody. Ooh, pizza, baby! Oh, and some tacos. If it was the last slice of cheesy goodness to ever come into my life, I'd want the pizza from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I wouldn't want it any other way. Because when that cheese goes drip, so do I. So do I. All right, if the tacos were a thing, I'd like them extra spicy. I'd like to be somewhere out on the West Coast. They know what's up. They've been doing it for the longest, and we love them tacos. Well, I was a big Lego master back in the day. You know, I've been staying stead true to that. I still have tons of Legos down in my basement, and I'll pull them out from time to time, and I love rebuilding cities. That was a big thing that actually that was my creative outlet as a kid to just get away, and spend time in this alternate universe that I'd create and make and happen myself. And so I think that as an artist, like that really resonates with the imagination, the creativity, the different things that I want to make happen, just have fun with. Oh, towns, cities, and we'd smash them. I'm talking, I would have that big old battleship and there'd be the city, right? And I'd be upstairs, and I'd throw that ship down in there, and it would just explode the city. My mom would be, Andrew Steven Beltz! And I'm like, don't worry, Mom, I got it. Like, I'm just playing with Legos up here, no holes in the walls, nothing like that, If Mac Miller never made it as an artist, neither would I. From my childhood on up, that's been like one of my biggest inspirations through and through. Everything. The evolution of him as an artist is something that I strive to do. From my very first writings on up, like every time I want to do better and create more and not just tap into that same side of me. I think that's one of the biggest things is he allowed me to see that one artist doesn't have to be just that exact kind of genre, that exact I'm doing this or that. It's freedom of artistry to make what you want to make. Last time I had stage fright was probably about 2013. And it was a real thing. When I started performing, my first ever show was in 2012. I was in front of 350 plus people. It was a completely sold out show in Sleepy Eye, Minnesota. Shout out Robert Kobe, Intelligent Design, for putting me on that. And it was crazy. I mean, all my family was there. This is my first time ever on stage. I wasn't in choir. I wasn't in band. I never did anything that was like stage-related performance. I was in golf, So, like, nobody watches you play golf. I mean, come on. Other than people's ass I kick out on the course. But anyways, that first show, I froze up. I was up there I had on Dickies shoes, some Rock and Revival jeans, an Affliction t-shirt, a bandana, looking like a douchebag. And you know what I said to myself after that moment of freezing up on stage? Get better or quit. And that was it. I put them two choices in front of me to keep pushing through. So, like, there's always the thing about coming to a stage, like, it's not so much stage fright, but you get excited. You get that anxiety. And the only way to deal with that is by going out there and doing your best set every single time. Practice. When we did that first show, we were supposed to have a 20-minute set. I think we did 10, something like that, because I couldn't remember half the lyrics. We hadn't performed enough. We hadn't practiced. I was so excited about the thought of doing a show that I thought that it was just, you get up there and you do your thing and this and that. And then you look out there and you're like, holy shit, there's so many people looking into my eyes right now. And I got to do something about that. And so it was a push forward to, like, I want to be better with it. And I want to, when I come out there, I want to have that crowd control. I knew the feeling was inside my soul. I just didn't know how to harness it at that point. So it just kept with consistency on it. Secret sauce of the Beltz Bears. I usually keep that on lock, so this is a 507cc exclusive. It's a lot of BDE, And it comes out there with putting on the energy, radiating it through, pushing it out to the crowd. I love to get involved. One of my favorite things is getting out in the crowd. I hate staying on a stage when I perform. Even though that's like the platform, that's where everyone's like, that's the highlight. Nah, when I get down and talk right into somebody's ear, or whisper in an old lady's face, or get it down on the floor, that's my favorite. One of my all-time favorite places to rap is on top of bars. Get up on top of a bar, kick somebody's drink over, look at them, and say, buy me another. If I was making a song in 60 minutes, obviously we got to pick topic. My first go-to is bitches. Second one, I'm just kidding. But my second one is, I'm actually usually a really like kind of deeper artist, but I love to have fun and I love to create something. So it really depends on my mood. Right now, I've been sipping a little Pinot today. We're feeling good, and I would like to make something about day drinking or having fun. Like one of our songs that just came out earlier this summer with the BDE Boys on the EP. We had day drinking on there. Super fun. If you haven't heard it yet, go check that out. But I'm all about just trying to like create moods, create environments. A lot of my songwriting processes usually are like 1 to 2 hours. If I'm in it, I'm locked in. Or at least I try to be, of course. It depends on what song and what kind of melody and cadences and things I'm going for. But probably the fastest one I recorded was X's and O's, which dropped in May. And that one was, I was in the middle of working on this album that's coming out here soon, and it was a song I couldn't finish the album. I literally could not figure out what I wanted to do going forward or how to finish it out and like actually make it a complete thing. And I was just in kind of a dark place. Like my mind, it's been through a lot, and it was a song that just helped me get away. And sometimes that's exactly what we need, is just that escape from our own mind. I have a vacation house in Miami. That's one of them. Then, we fly down to Barbados at least every other month, because why not? I got to get a tan. And, I have a ranch that I go back to, back out in the good old plains of Montana. That's going to be the life. I'm going to Kanye it, out of my little estate where nobody can come out and visit me unless you fly in by the chopper. My thing about performers at the age of 70, like, it's cool for a once-in-a-while reunion show, but, like, how many of them old bands just will say, oh, we're going back on tour, and it's like, you've said that and done the same shit for the last 10 years, and you should have retired way long ago and let your music have its growth. One of my biggest goals to be at the age of 70 is a motivational speaker. I really love inspiring people to do better and be better of themselves. So at that point in my career, I hope that it's a lot further along than just being on stage anymore. I'm going to have 100 dogs all out on the farm, out on the ranch, have my caretakers take care of them because I'm not dealing with 100 dogs, but I like them. And kids... Don't talk about the dirty dozen like that. Come on. We can't list them all right now. Depression and anxiety have been a big thing in my life, but they're also a big reason why I do music. And I'm able to take the sunshine and the light from inside my soul and share it with other people. I've been through a lot in my life, and I don't always like to share that on the surface. I would much rather take that and use it to harness sharing the reasons why we live on, the reasons why we keep going. So my anxiety, I a lot of times just keep to myself, my depression, things like that. I box it in, which I know isn't technically healthy, but I use it by channeling it through different music and things like that to get past it and keep moving. Dead would be Juice WRLD. I absolutely would love to make a song with him. Even though Mac Miller is my favorite artist, I just feel like my style would match with Juice's a lot better. And alive right now, man, I would really like to do a song with Ed Sheeran. That's super pop, that's super fun, like... I would have so much fun. And that dude is one of the most talented musicians in the world. We could go in there for a dark song, a light, a poppy. I mean, he is super, super well-rounded and versatile. So I think that would be a super fun collab. In my previous life, I would say a Buddhist monk, living out his best life, talking to nobody, in a peaceful village of Shalom, smoking a lot of weed, and living it. Because there's a part of me that just craves peace and craves not having this life, and I do so much and am always constantly on the go that I like know that somewhere in my soul I want that piece of calmness. So I think that there's just a part of me that's in there that came from that. Recording 100% Mock Studios. And then the funny part is I have an entire studio in my basement. Don't use it because I'd much rather come there and make something. Dylan Mock is one of the best producers I've ever gotten a chance to work with. He's improved my sound and my quality of like the writing styles and things that I do. And so it's been a super, super fun process, to be there and be creating. But writing I 100% do in my basement. I even if I'm on a feature with one of the guys in the studio, like I try to write it there, and sometimes we'd write it and lay down a song right away because when you're in the mood or when you're in that vibe, it's like one thing. But like on my album that I've been working on, consistently it's been go down to my basement, rewrite things, and then I take it to the studio and we kind of shape shift things and just create it into the exact formula we want. It was HQ of Modest Music back through and through. So there's been tons. I mean, probably 100+ artists that have been through there recording. And it's always been a blast. Like it's your typical basement, but like we knocked down some walls. We really created a little studio booth in there. Got some fake trees down there so you feel like you're in the atmosphere. We just try to create a good steadfast thing. And I think the most important part for me is I'm writing it at home. That's where I find myself like the most peaceful and the most able to tap into my truest self. I mean, the album is coming out very, very soon. I haven't put out to the world yet the title name or the project, but I'm very excited to see where it goes. We're hoping for December. Yep. So it's soon. It is soon, but to this exact second, the names can't be said yet. This is a 21 song project. This is the biggest thing that I've ever possibly done. And I keep thinking to myself, like I should have done it in EPs or sections like that, but it is an entire project that makes sense to hear it from front to back. There's a bunch of skits, a bunch of like really dynamics to it. A little background information to it is the majority of the thing in between it is money versus love. And you'll understand the concepts and everything as you get to actually digest and listen to the album. A ton of really fun features. Some artists that I've waited a long time to work with. A lot that I've done previous stuff with. I mean, it's going to be a really fun project when we get to hear this. The names of some of the features, we got a ton of the boys from F3. So you got Demo, you got Exquisite, you got Odd Cole, Sachi, Jacob G, Josie, Denim, and Ryan Revy, which is my old business partner of Modest Music too. There will be. So at this point, you will have seen a couple singles. I will not have released the actual project's name or anything like that to this point. But you will have seen Early Hours, which is it's a ballad of just a very fun accompanied light song, sweet to the soul music. We're going to be hoping to be on tour. Hope to be hopping on a little part of King Iso's tour around that time. And creating our own too. I'd like to thank everybody in my life, from my family to my friends, God. I couldn't do this without everybody that's in it. Period. And that comes from a basic friendship to the people that are with me every day and everyone in between, my employees down at Miller Motors. I am so fortunate to have the people in my life that I do. Way back, them New Ulm Crazy Cats, man. Woo! Without them, I don't think you'd have the crazy Andy that you do today. Because we were back row burning, country driveway drinking, partying like rock stars all the time. That's we were born on that redneck kind of back road lifestyle. And when I moved up to Mankato is kind of when I became more culturally diverse and got to meet a lot of more people and just adapt to my surroundings and grow as a person. I actually didn't start rapping until 17. So it was and I I was a late year baby for graduating high school, so I graduated before I turned 18. So it was like right at the end of that. And even then it was just freestyling over beats, like Teach Me How Dougie and like things like that. Like we'd rip the instrumental off YouTube and just have some fun with it. So then it wasn't so much in my music career. It really didn't start until I moved up to Mankato and just kind of got to meet some people. Shout out Rob Regan, man. Nasty, Big and Nasty was my first ever group. Big and Nasty was, we were on it. We were on it. We had Chevy's Bitches and Bucks. We had Burning Buds. Some of the funnest, goofiest songs that we ever created were me and Nasty down in the studio. And that developed me so far as an artist. We actually got to one of the biggest shows we did was with Rehab. And we did that at Chops back in the day. And that was like the song or the show that kind of like gave us that platform to really start getting into the community more. Afro Man was a awesome artist that I got to hang out with. He shared a lot of information with us. He took us out. So we did a show with him, and we got to hang out backstage with him that whole night. And then we got his phone number, and he ended up taking us out for breakfast the next morning. We got to sit down with him, get to pick apart his brain a little bit, understand like. The thing about it is, like, you hear a name like Afro Man or, like, POS or, a couple different artists that I've worked with over the time or gotten to meet and, be a part of their shows and things like that. And you're like, oh, my God, those are so far up there. But they're still regular people like us. Like, a lot of them still have regular jobs or at least side hustles, you know what I mean? The side hustles, the thing about Gary Vee taught me this. Everybody loves Gary Vee. Five sources of income. You need that to actually grow into making money. And so you see these artists and, they got Colt 45 and like all these different things like that are, they're a part of their brand, but they're also a part of the reason they're getting money. And so that's with myself. You got Beltz Bears NFTs. You have Beltz Bears merch. You have the BDE crew, which we have all of our stuff at www.thebdecrew.com for t-shirts, merch, everything like that. Got a couple different brand sponsors out there. To like thank them, Josie Oy, and there's a couple of people working behind the scenes that have helped grow our platform. And that the BDE crew is also what created the BDE boys. It was part of who we are and just what we want to resonate out into the world. Shout out Steve Beltz. Come on, I won't look this good without you, pops. Hell yeah.